Alright guys, my parts came in for the EGR cooler and this plastic assembly here that goes from the airbox. Airflow comes out and goes into the engine from this this assembly. So I have a torn tube on this assembly here. So I'm going to be changing the whole thing. BMW charges $150 for the part for this. I'll show you what it looks like right here. This is the new part here. This is the whole assembly from the engine all the way up to the airbox. This little part right here was the one that was torn on mine. I don't know if it was cracked and I probably tore it off. I don't know how that happened. Anyway, that was bad anyway. So this part right here costs $150 through BMW, and the whole assembly costs $190. So I went ahead and just ordered the whole thing. Since I'm changing this this little flange down here, it goes into the engine there. This is a new one now, so I'm going to be changing the whole thing. It's well worth the money, since the original part costs about $150. The other thing that I'm going to be changing is the EGR cooler. This is the new one. This is how it comes out of the box. So you don't get flange screws, you don't get anything. This is the way it comes out of the box. This is a different brand. The one on my car is a Bear. I don't know if that's stock or it's been changed before, but this is brand new from BMW. I didn't buy it off any other site. It's from the BMW dealership. It's a Malle. I got the part number right there. I'm going to link all the parts that I'm using here anyway in my description and throughout the video, so you have reference to that. This does not have the sensor that comes out of the throttle, the EGR throttle body there. You have to take off the old one and put it and screw this in here. It does not come with the sensor on it, so that's something that I think is negative for this thing. Okay, the why I'm changing this. This is a spring that actuates the this part right here. This was broken on mine. This spring right here was broken, so they don't sell that separate. You have to buy the whole thing. This cost me $430 on the BMW OnLite parts shop. It's cheaper that way. If you buy it, if you go there and buy the parts, they're more expensive. So you buy them online, they tend to be a little bit more inexpensive. Same applies to the plastic part up here. So this is what I'm going to be changing. I've showed you how to take off the plastic parts to get to this to the EGR cooler. I'm gonna have to take this off, unscrew this little screw here, which has which holds the clamp in place there. There's a 13mm bolt here, and there's one under here. Did this last time. I've showed you how to do it. I'll show you again today. I have to take this part off, this little connector here. Just pull this little tab here, and it slides right off. Oh, there it is. Actually, that did take care of that already. So just leave that hanging there. It's no big deal. I'm going to try to do this without taking out the fan this time. So I won't be disconnecting this to do this. I'm hoping I can, get my hands in there and do this without taking the fan off. I don't want to take off this the hose that goes to the radiator. I don't want to spill so much coolant this time. I will have some coolant coming out of these two little hoses here, but I have a one of those oil pans there, which I will be touching any coolant coming out of there. This is a 6mm screw here. Just have to take that apart. This part is very easy to take apart. There's one more screw down here. If you can see that right there. That's the E10 we were talking about last time. It's a star screw. It's an E10. It's an inverted torque screw. I don't know if you can see that. Probably. There it is. Okay, it's an E10. Take that off. This this screw here holds this assembly onto the to the engine there, and as soon as you take that off, this comes straight out, so you don't have to worry too much about that. Now there is a sensor back here, right there, and a coolant hose assembly. There, it's one part. It's one single plastic part there. There's a safety pin on the back side there and one on this side. Just pull these out and just pull it out. It's no big deal. That's the part that we're changing there too. So I'll try to get the as much footage as I can on this, and should be finished pretty fast here. Last time I did this work, it took me about 4 or 5 hours, going slowly, but now I've done this once before, twice maybe for some parts, and I'm pretty familiar with them. If I manage to get another cameraman here, I might even do it live for you, so hope that happens. I'll see you soon. Starting with the EGR cooler here, first thing is this clamp here is a 7mm clamp. I unscrewed it all the way. The new cooler does not include one of these, so hang on to this one. Make sure it's in good condition. It's a basic clamp. It's a special clamp. It has a. I'll show you how it works, what it looks like, and how it works as soon as I take this off. A few things that you need to keep in mind: that this hose here and the one on the bottom part of the EGR cooler will leak some coolant. So if you need, you have to take the plastic protector under the car. That's very easy to do. Just get that out of the way so you can put a pan under there and have the liquid, the coolant spill in there. So there's one 13mm bolt here, and there's one more right under this back here. So untighten these. I'm going to try to do this without taking out the fan housing here. So unscrew these. I mean, there's enough space here to work. Now, I always like to keep one of these magnetic holes. These are magnetic bolt screws, so if one falls into the engine here, it'll probably end up going down all the way down to the surface under the car. But if it doesn't, keep one of these handy. You know, you can always find it in your engine bay. These are very cheap. I bought the Tecton one from Amazon. Keep it around. It's very nice. Now, okay, one is here, one is back there. Let me. I cracked the other one also, so I'm just going to go ahead and unscrew that. Put a little extension on that. Just take it out by hand. It's right under this round thing here. There it is. Okay. So that takes care of the two screws here. We've taken care of this. Now, in order to get to the EGR cooler flange bolts in the back, it's much easier to take this plastic assembly totally out of the car here. It's a 6mm bolt here. I've already untightened that. It's a clamp. Just take this out. No big deal. It's one of the easiest things you're going to be doing here. There's one more 6mm clamp down here. You can untighten this one and maybe pull this out. But since I'm going to be doing the whole thing, I'm going to take out all of this plastic. So I'm going to undo this little connection here. Now it's right behind this one here, so it might be a little bit of. Basically, what you do is just pull back on this. Maybe I should just use the hook. Yeah, just use one of these little hook tools here, so you can just pull that back. Now, I'm not pulling very hard because I don't want to do any damage to it. I'm just going to try to take this out first. Should come right out. We're going to tighten that. Now, oh yeah, there is a E10 screw here, which bolts onto this. I've already untightened it. This does not fall off, so you don't have to worry about losing it. But once you've unscrewed this whole plastic assembly comes loose. So at this point, what you really need to do is make sure that you take this apart, because then we're probably looking at doing more damage to this place here. So I'll just do that. Use my screwdriver. Oh, this shouldn't be that hard. And I took it off last time. So much easier. There it is. Now these come totally off, so don't lose this. It's a little securing clamp there. Let me show you what it looks like on the new part here. This goes in like that, and this is the plastic part we're taking off here. There's one clamp from the back side, and there's one clamp in the front side here. Actually, you get this right. Inside, there's that little green seal. Make sure that that's in there, because if it's not, moisture and water or whatever other liquid can get into here, and you don't want that. That's what it's there for. Keeps it nice and tight and sealed. So this is the clamp we took out. Just pull it back on this side, and this side the same thing. And that is one plastic assembly right here. It's one plastic. Just take that out and boom, it's ready. Now the new one comes with new clamps, new bolts, everything. So you really don't need anything to keep from the other part that you're taking out. I'm just going to put this right here, so I have it as a reference for you. Okay, now this, with a little screwdriver from the back side here, just take that apart. See how easy it is? There's one thing in the back and one in the front. Just take that apart like that. Just make sure that comes up very easy, but now I'll just be super cautious because I don't want to pull anything out either. Now this one here might have a little bit of coolant inside. Let me get a bigger screwdriver. A little bit more leverage back here. Okay, there it is. Just pull that apart. There it is. Okay. Now, this one came out just like that. Boom. Okay. Now I can watch this little. This probably came out wrong this time. Okay, that's out. I'm super cautious not to pull anything out, you know, damage anything. That's why I'm just being so cautious here. Okay. Now, this is what we're changing. There's a sensor in the back here, okay, which works the same way. Just pull up there, just like that, and this comes off. Just like that. Okay. Now it doesn't matter because the new one has a sensor. So what you want to take apart from this is this one right here. Now this is a push and pull. Just push down on that little tab right there. Push down on that and just take this apart. There it is, just like that. Now there's a little on the brace that we take off earlier. There's a little this is like a little it's like a little base.
Like a bolt.
Yeah, there's this little screw. This screws on here. Now, mine was broken, so I just taped that on. I'm gonna have to take this off and put it on the new sensor here. So this is right here. Okay. This is the old part. This is the part that we wanted to change. That's on that new assembly there. Everything else, if I need something, I'll just put it down. And I'll keep working with the EGR cooler right now. Now, if you come on this side for a second, see, by taking that plastic part out, it gives you a lot more space to work here. Okay? And the reason that it's easier to take this out than taking the fan housing out is that the space that you really need is right here to take these flange bolts out. By the way, those are T45s. So it's a torque 45, but in order to get back there, you need a long extension. So T45 and a long extension. These are 3/8 with these. Now keep in mind that these screws are not magnetic, so if it falls you can't find it with a magnet. So the best thing to do, the best thing for me anyway, I think is to put a big rag down here, just like that. First of all, to prevent, just push it back there with your screwdriver, to prevent anything going into that port that you just opened from the plastic housing in there. And second, if the screw just falls there, it'd probably fall on here, and you can just get it with your fingers, because the screws are, one is right there, if you can see with my screwdriver. I don't know if you can get that, Christina. But I'm going to get another light in there. Let me get some more light in there. Okay, one's there, and of course right under that is the other one. These are 245s. Just like that. That's fine. Put that right there. Okay. Get my ratchet ready. Okay, you see? Just sit that right there. Can you come on this side, please? Thanks. Space right there so I can see. Alright. Yes. Okay. Okay, that's out now. Then I have to from the back there. Make sure it's you know what? Maybe I'm just gonna leave it there. Maybe it'll come out with cooler. That's what I did last time. So I'm just gonna get the bottom one here. You can actually see the bottom screw. That's really hard to get from this part here. Right there, you can actually, if you come over here where I am sitting, from this angle right there, you can actually see that little bolt back there. I don't know if you can get it on the camera or not, but I can see it from where I am. I mean, you can just go further down there. Maybe you can see that. Can you see that? Sure you can. There it is. There it is right there. Anyway, okay. I think that gets the idea. Just take that apart though. There's enough space back here to work with your fingers. You can just put that on there with your finger. There it is. Now, before I take this assembly apart, okay, these are totally out. Just gonna leave them there. That'll probably come out with a cooler. Now, two more things that we have to keep in mind here. This we took off earlier. It's this little plastic clip. You just pull up. It just gets on this little bracket here. This is the sensor that we were talking about earlier. What you have to do in this case is pull this tab back, the white one, and go from behind and put the screwdriver inside here, like that. Like that. Can you get that, Casimiro? And just twist that a little bit, and that comes straight off. This is the hardest sensor, in my opinion, take off this car. I don't know why it takes, you know, maybe it's because it's really small and I'm afraid I might tear it apart or something like that. Just very hard for me. Okay, now all we have to do is take this off, and the one on the bottom off. Now this is the part where we're going to get some coolant coming out. I have a rag down there. Can you get that red rag? I have a rag down there. So when the coolant starts dripping, it's going to drip on my rag there first, so it doesn't go on the components. Taking these hoses off is very easy. You come in the front side here. There's a little clip. Just take that off, just like that. Okay. And just pull it off. Get some leverage there. It's as easy as that. Push it off. There it is. And there's a little bit of coolant. You can just twist this to the side. There won't be a lot of coolant coming off the top side, but there will be on the bottom side. Okay, we're just about ready with the EGR cooler here now. Just take the other part off. Let me see which side the clip is on. Okay. Get my pin. Okay. The little thing the trans pull is on the front side there. I'll try not to pull it too hard. There it is. Until that's good enough. Okay. Just the coolant hose from the bottom part there. I've taken out the tab already. These are a little bit. Just give them a little twist here with the big screwdriver. Comes straight off. I mean, I'm taking out the tab. Far enough, have I? No. Maybe not. No? Yeah, that's okay. Just take this out. Yeah, just, now you can see the coolant leaking there. That's fine. Okay, at this point we can let me see, this is off. You can actually take this out. Oh wait, this is not fully out. Now it is. Oh, very good. Am I missing something? Okay, now that the EGR cooler is off, you can take these two screws out. Just pull it towards you a little bit. You know, you have a little bit more leverage getting to these screws. Now you can actually get them much easier. Okay, so now that I'm not afraid that's going to fall out, I can go ahead and try to figure out how to pull this out here. Oh, yeah. What's wrong?
Do you think you have?
Oh, yeah. No, bring it out. It's... Okay, we'll show them how that looks like. Okay. Now, taking out the fan would benefit because... Oh, there's another hose here. Okay, that we have to take out. That's why I want them out. This is the vacuum hose that goes into this little part down here. Taking off this from the old EGR cooler, I didn't notice this little piece was in here. It's that little piece from this. You see there's a little hose that this goes into right there. This had broken and was left inside here, and I was trying to put this in with that plastic. I didn't notice that, but it wouldn't go in, so I cut a little piece off the hose here, this little piece here, just enough to expose this a little bit, and pulled it out with my mini pliers here. Just pulled that out like that. So now this is free, and I'm going to go ahead and assemble this on this right now. So this should go on. That's very easy now. Okay, that's the way it should be. Okay, good, done. Now this goes on top, goes here. I'll do that later. I won't do that right now. I'm gonna leave that for last. Just wanted to put that on, make sure that goes there. Now, taking off the cooler before, I brought it in through here. Just a little tug with a fan plastic housing here. It's the easiest way to do it. I'm just gonna make sure I'm putting it in right, so I don't have to take it back out. Okay, that's in, that's in, that's in. Okay. Now, this goes in from here. Much easier. Just a little tug. The other one came out. I'm not sure this one's going to go in. Let's pull the fan housing a little bit back, and it goes through there. Okay. Going through. Okay, going through. That's there. What am I missing? This is the water pump there. Let's turn the water back here. Now this goes there. Okay, it's pretty much in place now. I'll take this clamp totally apart so I can just see that that's going on there. Alright, now, two things that we need to make sure. Make sure that we get the flange seated correctly in the back. Now what I'm going to do here, I'm going to place one bolt there, so I just keep this in place a little bit. And I'm not going to fully tight it, I'm just going to put the bolt there. This is one of my 13mm bolts here. So put that right there. Give it a little finger twist. Okay, that's not going anywhere. Let's get these tools out. Okay. Putting in the T45 screws back where the EGR flange is. These are not magnetic, so what I do is put a painter's blue tape on one part of my socket there, and just set this in here like that. That helps it stay there. Now, I'm just not going to leave it just like that. I'm going to try to put my finger as much as I can to put it in there. Now I've placed the top one in here. You can see the top one is there. It's got a little blue tape in there. It doesn't matter. I can tighten that down. Now I'm going to try to put the bottom one down. Make sure that you align the pipe onto the engine properly, and then screw these bolts. You don't want engine air coming out of there. So I'm just going to go ahead and try to put this one down there. I still have my rag just in case, but this is easy. There's enough space back there to work, so you don't have to worry about that. This came on perfectly right now. Okay, that's good. I mean, the blue tape works a lot. It just holds that in place. You don't need that anymore. Well, I don't tighten anything down until I get all my bolts on. So I've got my two T45 torque bolts on the flange back there. I put them in place. I haven't bolted them down quite yet. I want to put all the screws on. The 113mm screw here I've placed. I mean, the cooler is still moving. You can see this It's come to place here. It's on where it's supposed to be, right there. So that means that I can place my other 13mm screw on the bracket there. This one's right here. This one's right there. Just get that in place. I've secured this clamp here. This is a 7mm. Just tighten it down. These are the 13mm screws. I'm going to tighten those down too. Make sure they're nice and secure. Okay, got that one. And the other one on top here. Okay, I won't push them too much. That's secure there. It's not going to go anywhere. So now the only thing left is the two T25 screws that we placed before. Everything is in place. So now I'm going to go ahead and torque these down. I'm going to tighten them down. I'm not going to torque them. Okay, no big deal. Make sure they're tight. Never tighten them. Last thing you need right now. Just over tighten these screws. Okay. The piece. Are you getting it? Yeah. Just, there it is. It's right back there. How's that? You get it? Yeah. Oh, that's fine. That's very tight. No problem. We have this clip in place. We have the bottom hose there in place. We put the two coolant hoses in. We put this back in. The sensor is in place. So the EGR cooler is nice and secure now. The actuator is working. The cooler is done. Now all we have to do is put back the plastic assembly there, and our work is done today. Okay, now this is the new part. I'm going to try just putting that straight down in there. Well, alright, let's see. This is the... Let me just take these apart. Have them ready. I'm just going to take this off and I'm going to put it on when it's on, because I'm guaranteeing to break that. Alright, let's put this back in there. Let's place that down there. We can do it step by step. We can put the bottom one first. I'm not entirely sure this is clamped down, is it? Oh, and one more thing I want to make sure. Maybe I just will take this off, because this clamp is exactly where I don't want it to be. I mean, Jesus, I understand that, but I want, when I place these in, I want to have the clamp on this side so I can easily, when I work in the bay, if I need to take this out, I'm not going to be looking for it in the back here. I'm going to bring it in the front, make sure that I can access that without taking out other components there. I'll do that and I'll come back. Finishing up here now, I put the plastic assembly here from the airbox all the way down to the engine. This is very, very easy. Just slide in the bottom part there. Make sure that you tighten down this E10 screw onto the bracket. That's fairly easy, done. This assembly back here goes in, put the clips in, make sure they're secure. The other sensor, which goes onto the engine, the brace, I've already clipped in, so I don't forget that one. EGR cooler, two T45 bolts for the flange in the back, tightened. The two 13mm screws here. The clamp here. This is a 7mm clamp. Make sure that's secure. I didn't need to take this one off. I pulled this apart before, but I didn't need to take it out, so I'm just going to put that back in. No big deal. The sensor is on. I've clipped in the sensor here too. Made sure this little connection is on. The coolant pipes are nice and secure. This is how you change the EGR cooler. I didn't need to take the fan part off this time. It's manageable to do that once you understand how this works. It is very, very easy to do. I hope I helped you here. Any questions or anything you want to mention, feel free to. I'll try to get back to as many of you as I can. Thanks a lot for watching.